Hi, my name is Joe Raczynski and I'm with Thomson-Reuters Legal, and this is a Google Glass conversation where I wanted to talk today in a multi-part series. What I wanted to talk today about was Google Glass, what the conversation is that people are having about it these days, what the issues are with privacy, with security, the muggings, things that surround it right now. So first and foremost, what are my impressions of Google Glass a few months into it? I think it's pretty phenomenal. There are many aspects to this that I think are going to be something that everyone will have at some point, just like with cell phones, and then we move to mobile phones with the iPhone coming out 7-8 years ago. So what's happening is that this makes a ton of sense for most people. It does everything that your cell phone does for the most part. It takes pictures, it takes video, you get your email, your text messages, your navigation, you can speak to it, you can do the searching based off the speech. Obviously most of your interactions with people in terms of text messages or emails are all going to be speech, and the recognition's excellent on it. The GPS piece of it, all of that makes this pretty phenomenal. So as a hardware. Now, when you start talking about the software piece of it, that's where we are moving in a much better direction. When this first came out, there were only a handful of apps, which they actually call glassware, that were available. And they were pre-installed. You can actually add them as you go. So like the New York Times, there's some games that allow you to move your head in certain directions, to bounce balls off walls, things like that. There is a compass on it. There is, there's a ton of different applications that are out that Google has. On the other side, you have a lot of the explorers. So when you have this early on in the beta, we're called explorers. They're people that are actually just testing this out for the interim before it actually comes out into production for the masses. Those individuals are spending a lot of time actually doing coding to get them so that they can actually program some of this glassware. And there's a ton of glassware out there. And to get that glassware, those apps, onto this, it's not a simple download. I wish it was. You actually have to sideload it, which means plug in a USB cord, run it to your computer, and there's certain software applications you have to run, and then load it onto those, and it'll load onto here. So a few extra steps. Technically, I'm not sure you're allowed to do it, but to get the most benefit out of it, then it makes sense to use those apps. So to me, to sum up that piece, I think this is a phenomenal piece that's, we're all going to have something like this. It's going to be smaller, it's going to be sleeker, it's going to be a little more refined, granted, because this is the first generation version. But going forward, you're going to have something that I think most people will end up using. So some of the other concerns. Privacy. Because so few people have actually used it, I think that's the biggest concern that we're all having right now is privacy. They don't get that most are not going to be shooting pictures. Video only lasts 10 seconds. The pictures, you'll know when a picture goes off because in the glass itself, it's lit up. People also have to have some semblance of understanding of how this actually, how it should be used. And Google has blogged about this, so there's a certain way of actually making sure that you're not abusing it. Same thing as you wouldn't be taking a cell phone with a camera into a bathroom. You're not going to do the same thing with this. You're not going to have your cell phone out looking at people in the bathroom. You're a little more cautious about that. So that's the privacy concern. I don't think long term it's truly a concern. It's just something that people who are unfamiliar with it, I would too, and I was initially, be nervous about the potential for how this could impact my life. So privacy is one concern. Other thoughts on Google Glass may come down to some of the issues that they're having in San Francisco and Silicon Valley with people getting mugged. I think there's been up to 2 people who've been mugged on it so far. And I think that's because of the unique issues that are going on in San Francisco right now, with people who have not traditionally been in the tech industry, who are unfortunately being moved out of certain parts of San Francisco proper, and their rents are being driven up. All of that is not good. But I think that this is sort of a symbol of that right now, and hopefully that'll all be worked out, and people will resolve those issues, I think. So, all right, well, that's in a nutshell what I wanted to talk about, a little bit about security surrounding like the privacy piece of it, understanding some of the other aspects of how it can be used, and my opinion about where it's at right now, and hopefully as it moves forward with everyone else, we'll see how it goes. But thank you for taking the time. I appreciate it.